cactus and succulent growers, I'm Lynn and welcome to Desert Plants of Avalon. In today's video I'm going to be talking about my old Lophophora williamsii that I have grown for 29 years. Now guys, this is a series of videos where I talk about my very old special cacti that I've got in my collection. And today's video on the story of my history of my plants is going to be my Lophophora williamsii. Now those of you who watch my videos know that I have quite a large collection of the Lophophoras, commonly known as peyote cacti, because I have a special love for them. Because I just love how wacky, wonderful and weird they are. They are just so unique. And I have made countless videos over the years on my Lophophora collection, including individual types, the many different varieties I have in my collection, complete tour collections on Lophophora, how to care for them and everything. So before I actually talk about this special one, if you want to know more about growing Lophophora and also to see a complete tour of all the Lophophora I have in my collection, then do go and watch a whole playlist that I've got on my channel dedicated to Lophophora growing, and I'll link the playlist up above. Do go ahead and watch their videos after you've watched this one, of course. So guys, first of all, the history about where I got this Lophophora williamsii from. Well, this is the very first one that I ever got in my collection of Lophophora. And I got this 29 years ago when I lived in England. I went to visit my favourite place, favourite town, Glastonbury Town in England. And of course, I've been into cacti a long time, but I'd never seen a Lophophora before. And there was a little shop there at the top of the high street. It was a shamanic shop. They used to sell herbs and all things like that, sort of spiritual books. As anyone who knows Glastonbury Town would know, be familiar with what they sell there. And I noticed this really small, little plump looking weird plant. And when I say small, guys, it was probably the size of this one here, probably even smaller. It was tiny, and I went, what is that? And it was labelled as peyote cactus. And I went, cactus? I've not seen that before. So I went into the shop and I said to the guy, what is that plant? That's not a cactus. And he said, yes it is. He says, I've grown them myself from seed. He said, it's peyote. And I went, what is peyote? And he explained that it contains alkaloid in the skin, which is called mescaline, and apparently you can get high on it, hallucinogenic properties, and I'm not into that, so I've never tried eating any of my Lophophoras, and I never will. But he was a shaman, and he used it for shaman purposes. So he said you'd have to actually eat a lot of Lophophora that are grown in cultivation to get any effects, because it's not like the effects you get in the wild. But I said I'm not interested in that. I love cacti and I want this cactus because I've never seen anything like it. So I bought it, didn't know really much about it at all. I'm going back in the days when it was 1996. There was practically no internet at that time, so all the cactus information I got was from the library. And I remember going to the library trying to look up information on this cactus, very little. But anyway, I thought I've got this really unique cactus that no one really knows anything about. Fast forward a couple of years when I was growing it, I found out more about Lophophora, and there was a lot of mail order at that time before the internet, where you could buy rare plants, and that's when I got into Ariocarpus and all the other things as well. And Lophophora was then talked about a lot more. And this was the original one. As I say, this was the first one I had. I had it then in a window, a sunny window, when I lived in England. I did have a little greenhouse at the time out the back in my garden, very tiny little greenhouse, but I didn't really want to risk it. I didn't know much about the care of this. And over the years it grown and grown. Anyway, fast forward, me going on waffle there, Lophophora now, the internet came about, there was loads of information. I managed to get an actual book dedicated to Lophophora growing. and I got to learn a lot more about it. I'm just fascinated by this awesome, wacky, tomato-like in appearance, green, fluffy tufty, areoled cactus without any spines. And as I got fascinated, my collection grown and grown. Obviously with the internet you can buy things online. As you can see, I have a lot of Lophophora, many different types. I have Lophophora diffusa, Lophophora fritchi, and quite a lot Lophophora caspostitosa, what a name, that has these multiple heads on it here as well, and they produce gorgeous little pretty pink flowers over the spring and summer, and even sometimes into the early fall as well. Some of them have white flowers, as you can see here. So there's a photograph of some of them, these beauties when they are flowering. They're absolutely wacky. And this video isn't a how to care for video, because as I mentioned on the playlist that will be up above, I've made numerous videos on growing Lophophora and information on them. This is just talking about this special one, and also how I've cared for it over the years. Now, as I mentioned, when I got it, it was a tiny little pup, probably like that size actually. And it has grown and grown and grown, pupped out itself, multiple pups. In the summertime, each pup would have a little flower on it. It is quite remarkable, very special. And how I grow this, Lophophoras, as I mentioned in the care videos, they like to have as much sun as you can absolutely give them, because the more sun you can give them, the better. In their natural habitats, they grow in parts of Mexico and Texas, and they like full sun. They can also go very, very, very long periods without water as well. So I would not give these a scrap of water over the winter. From sort of mid-September up until early April, mid-April, I don't give them any water. They will shrivel right back, and they'll often go very spongy when they're very dry and dehydrated in the winter. Don't worry about it, that's normal. Don't give them any water, keep them dry. And this is whether you're growing them indoors in the house or whether you're growing them in a polytunnel. Now with the watering as well, guys, I have to mention that Lophophora have a tuberous root system. So they're not like other cacti that would just have the roots coming down. They store a lot of water in their tuber, which is why they can go extra long without water compared to some other types of cacti. Now this tuberous root system, when you're watering, it's really important, as I mentioned, you let the soil dry out completely before you water again. In fact, with my Lophophora, I go that little bit longer. People say, when do you water your cacti? How often, I should say. Well, from the spring and summer, I water them, wait till they've dried out, water again. However, with the lofts, I will sometimes wait, skip another week or two till they are very, very, very dry, because their tuberous root system, they're easygoing cacti. They're not necessarily prone to rot, but if you just water them like you would a normal house plant, because of their tuber root system, the tuber they have, they can rot. So be very careful with that when you're watering. They don't like to be kept in permanent wet soil, even during the spring and summer. It's important you let the soil dry out completely because of their tuberous roots. They're also extremely cold hardy as well, so as long as you keep them dry, they can take well below freezing as well, Celsius, if they're kept dry, obviously. So they're a really easy going cactus. Now I understand that unfortunately, because this cactus contains alkaloids mescaline, which has drug properties, it's not legal to actually grow this cactus in some parts of the US, which is a shame because it's a very easygoing cactus. And as I mentioned, I've never tried these myself, but I do know from what I've heard from other people who have taken peyote, Lophophora for the hallucinogenic effects. You'd have to eat a hell of a lot of them to get any type of effect if you're growing them in cultivation. They're not like they're grown in their natural habitats that are grown extremely hard. The harder they're grown, the more they contain the alkaloid mescaline. So, if you're getting this plant because you want to get hallucinogenic effects, you're going to be very disappointed if it's one that you're growing in cultivation. But as I say, I grow these because I love the wackiness and the uniqueness of these amazing cacti. So I keep it dry over the winter. In the sort of April time, I'll start then to water it. Give it a thorough water, let it completely dry out before I water again. And they can go a lot longer without watering than many other types of cacti. They're extremely tough plants. Plenty of sun, as much sun as you can give them. If you're growing these indoors and you don't have a sunny window, you must install a grow light to obviously replace the lack of sun, because they will tend to grow bloated and not look well if you don't give them the sun they need. So do give them that sun, either with a grow light or in a sunny position, in a greenhouse or on a windowsill. Great windowsill plants and a sunny window as well, very tough, wonderful little plants. I give a bit of tomato feed with every 3rd to 4th watering used at half stem, because that encourages the pretty little pink blooms. Very easy growing cactus. They used to be very difficult to buy, but now they're a lot more common to buy on the internet, because they're a bit of a novelty plant, and as I say, they're very easy growing. Great if you live in apartments who don't have much space, because they're little compact growers. And as I mentioned, although I've had this for 29 years and it's quite large now, it's took that long to get from that size to this size, so it is one that is not a fast grower. They're extremely slow growing. So that's the positives. The negatives to having this plant has to be they are spider mite magnets. Now, funny enough, I very rarely, if ever, get mealybug on Lophophoras. They don't seem to bother Lophophoras. However, spider mite, yes. You're always, if you've got Lophophoras in your collection, it's only a matter of time when you're going to discover spider mite. And in that playlist there is videos where I talk about how to treat spider mite on Lophophora plants. I use neem oil mixed with horticultural soap that works really well at knocking spider mite like that. Also a bit of rubbing alcohol with a bit of horticultural soap mixed together as well works a treat with getting rid of spider mites. And I find even if you don't treat the spider mite, which I recommend you do, Lophophora have got a very good immunity where they will just, after a few weeks, stop in check, the mites will go away and then they form new growth again. It's just something, I don't think there's a single year gone past where I haven't had some type of spider mite on. I mean, this is an example of past spider mite damage. You can see this sort of orangey, sort of coppery coloured scaling from past spider mite. Treated it with the neem oil, and this is all the new growth. But there's no doubt this year I'm going to experience it again. Doesn't matter how much I keep on top. I tend to not panic now, but it's never, I've never lost a Lophophora from spider mite, but I have had many disfigured. It just adds to their character. This one as well has had it over the years, as you can see, past spider mite. This is all the new healthy growth. It sort of leaves a bit of a lovely sort of pattern as well on it. But as long as you treat it, say the neem oil, or if you don't want to use neem oil, a bit of rubbing alcohol, a bit of horticultural soap, mix it with a bit of water as well, and you can spray them, and it does really kill the spider mites. Give it a repeat treatment, usually about 7 to 10 days later, to stop any newly ones that are still on it. It's just keeping on top of it as well, because Lophophoras love the dry environment. If you've got somewhere where you can have these plants with plenty of fresh air, I have the doors open, you know, during the spring and summer anyway, when it's nice and warm. That helps to keep pests down. And when you're repotting, that's when you'll notice how big that the tuber is on these Lophophoras. You'll be like, wow, when you see the big tuber. And as I mentioned on that playlist of all of the videos I've got on Lophophora, you'll see many repotting videos I've done on how to repot Lophophora, and you'll see just how big that their big tuberous root system is. And I also just want to mention as well, this little here, this is a piece of flint. It's an arrowhead that I got from my wonderful friend Clyde Morris Park in the Ozarks, and this is very, very special. So I keep this here on this very special Lophophora, as it's my big golden oldie. So that's pretty much it. Wonderful wacky cactus, very unique, easy to grow if you can keep on top of the spider mites. And as I say, out of all my collection, I have a lot of them now. I've grown many from seed as well. Many I've grown from seed. These are ones I've grown from seed. All these are all my own, grown from seed. They're very easy self-pollinating cacti that grow well from seed. So it's an easy grower there. So then guys, I hope you enjoyed that little history about my Lophophora williamsii. As I say, this is the very first one I got all them years ago in 1996. that I didn't know what was when I saw it in the shop window, that got me addicted, because I thought these plants are something else. And there's quite a lot of different varieties of these as well. But as I say, you'll see my whole collection if you watch my collection video of these awesome, wacky, unique, almost alien-like cacti. So thank you so much for watching. Oh, do you have these cactus in your collection? Let me know in the comments down below. I know my wonderful friend Sarah, Worth Valley Chihuahuas. Hi Sarah. She's really getting into Lophophora at the moment, and I said you have to get one to your collection because they really are amazing additions. So do give this video a like if you haven't done already, and do subscribe and click that notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload new videos. Check my website out for lots of growing tips on cacti suckers on there, desertplantsofAvalon.com. And I want to wish you all a fantastic, weird, wacky, green tomato, Lophophora plant powered day. Wacky, wonderful and downright weird.